It is Friday morning, and this is my news update. We have a lot of interesting news to get to, and I have one Clown World story, but I'll put that at the end of the video. And so let's first discuss what's going on in Mariupol, in Ukraine, on the ground. And we have the Mariupol has been captured by the Russian military. That is a certainty right now. And what they're doing is they're just completing the mop-up operations. So in the city center of Mariupol, you have Chechen fighters, for example, who are going to apartment buildings, and they're finding some of these Azov guys, and they're taking them out. They're annihilating them. And you have the main bulk of the Azov fighters pinned down in an industrial plant, Azovstal, in this very large, this massive industrial plant, like steel factory. And they've all retreated there, and they're pinned down there. And the Russian military was thinking, what do we do? Do we take this steel factory out in one go and destroy the factory, which is an important industrial plant for the region? Or do we go in there and just go step by step and annihilate these Azov guys? And it looks like they've chosen to go in there step by step and annihilate these Azov guys and preserve the industrial plant. And what we have in the past couple of days is we have the Ukraine military in a panic. And they're in a panic because it seems like there's some very important people who are stuck in this industrial plant along with the Azov fighters, the Azov battalion. And the Ukraine military is trying, in desperation, to evacuate these important people. And we don't know who these people are. We have no idea. There are rumors that these are very high-level Azov commanders. There are also rumors that these very high-level officials are NATO commanders. There are rumors, and this is all unconfirmed, no one knows. There are rumors that even Macron called Putin and begged Putin to allow the evacuation of some very high-level French commanders. I've heard UK commanders, I've heard US, I've heard Polish, I've heard a mix of all of these people. No one knows. But what we do know is that the Ukraine military is in an absolute panic. They are trying to get helicopters into this steel factory in the middle of the night, flying under radar, and trying to get the helicopters in so that they can evacuate these very high-level officials. Once again, we don't know who these people are. But we have had 2 helicopters shot down trying to evacuate these very high-level officials. And the helicopters were allowed to land. They were allowed to load up their very important cargo, i.e. some of these important officials. And as they were taking off, they were shot down. From what I hear, 4 helicopters actually got into the factory. 2 of those helicopters were shot down and 2 got away. This is what I hear. Once again, I can't confirm any of this. The only thing that we know for sure, for absolute certainty, is that 2 helicopters did land in Azovstal. They managed to land there. They managed to load up these individuals, and they were shot down. If you do a search for what's going on in this steel factory, there are photos, there's videos. 2 of the people actually survived, and they're being interrogated right now by the Russian military. The rest of the people that were on these helicopters, they died, and there's some really gruesome images, very gruesome images. Do a search, look on the interwebs, and you'll see all the images with what was happening with these helicopters. Telegram has a lot of these images. So that is the story coming out of Mariupol. It's a very interesting story. Who do you think is pinned down in this steel factory? Do you believe that Macron actually called Putin and begged him to allow an evacuation? Or is that fake news? One thing is for sure, the Ukraine military is absolutely desperate to get some people out of this factory. They are absolutely desperate and in panic. I mean, I've heard 4 helicopters. I've heard stories that helicopters are trying to sneak in there on a daily basis. Once again, you can't confirm all of this, but you do know that these 2 helicopters were shot down, and they were allowed to land. And then as they were taking off, well, they got gunned down. So That's what's going on in Mariupol. Real quick, really quick, we have a quote here. Let me pull it up from a top advisor to Zelensky, Mr. Arestovich, a top advisor to Zelensky. He released a statement yesterday or 2 days ago. I think yesterday. He released this statement, and I quote, "Russia has destroyed our entire defense industry and are now finishing it off." Does this sound like a Ukraine military that's going to be marching on Moscow any day now? Does this sound like a Ukraine military that is winning? Does this sound like a Russian military that is losing? The demilitarization phase of this operation appears to have been a complete success. And we have a lot of the denazification taking place right now. I think a big part of the phase 2 operations will be the denazification, specifically in this Dawnbass Cauldron. And we are in preparations. From what I am getting, is going to be a huge battle in the Donbass, a massive battle, which is going to be the eventual annihilation of these 60,000 troops that are trapped, that are pinned down in this cauldron, or soon to be cauldron. And all signs are pointing to a very big battle. Preparations are being made for this big phase 2 operation. So buckle up. The next week is going to be very interesting with regards to the military operation in the east. Other news that we have to get to. Let's see here. Russia has placed sanctions on EU officials and EU Parliament members, very much like they did to the US officials, barring them entry into Russia. They've now barred entry into Russia of pretty much everyone that works in the European Union. Like all the Parliament officials, I'm sure Van der Leyen's on the list, all of them. They've been barred entry into Russia. Russia is once again kind of trolling the EU officials. They are trolling the EU officials. I guess it's kind of like a troll on the EU officials after they signed the decree for the gas to rubles. This is kind of like just a cherry on top of the cake, right? They signed the gas for rubles decree, and then they come out with a statement saying, oh, and by the way, we're going to be sanctioning EU officials. They won't be able to enter into Russia. And of course, if they have any money tucked away in any Russian banks or any Ukraine banks, that's a distinct possibility. Very much like the Bidens, I wouldn't be surprised if these EU officials have money tucked away or hidden away in various Ukrainian banks. So whatever they did have in Ukraine or in Russia, now they won't be able to get to it. And I was just looking at my phone to see if I had any other quotes with regards to what's going on the ground in Ukraine. I don't have any other quotes. Let's get to let's shift gears and get to India. Let's get to India. Lavrov is in India. I believe today he's in India, and he's going to be having meetings with Indian diplomats and his counterparty, the Indian foreign minister. So there's a big high-level meeting. Lavrov was in China meeting with Wang Yi, the foreign minister of China. Then he went to attend a conference with regards to Afghanistan, and basically the Chinese and the Russians and Pakistan, they're basically now going to be running the show in Afghanistan. They're going to be helping Afghanistan rebuild. So after Biden did that disastrous pullout in Afghanistan, in come the Chinese, in come the Russians, and in comes Pakistan. And they're going to be helping Afghanistan sort things out. And that may very well be the full recognition of the Taliban government and whatever else they need to figure out with Afghanistan to try and stabilize Afghanistan. And after Afghanistan, Lavrov made his way to India. So we're going to see exactly what he discussed with his counterparties in India. But we do know that Joe Biden, ahead of the Lavrov trip, sent a very high-level official by the name of Dalit Singh. He sent him to India ahead of Lavrov, and now we know what Mr. Singh told the Indian officials. Basically, Mr. Singh was in India, and he warned India, and he sent a warning. He told the Indian officials, do not help Russia with their de-dollarization efforts. Actually, the exact words that we're getting from the readout is, do not help Russia, stop assisting Russia in undermining the US dollar. That was his warning, and to stop working with Russia. And by extension, I imagine, stop aligning with the Russia axis, the Russia-China axis of this new multipolar world. So that was the warning that Mr. Singh sent to his to the Indian officials. He warned them to stop helping Russia undermine the dollar, and to stop working with Russia, to stop buying, for example, oil and other commodities that the Russians are offering India. And I'm very curious to see what India is going to be saying to Lavrov. I'm very interested to see the readout of those meetings. And I'm interested to see what India's response is going to be to the Biden White House. I imagine that the Indian government is not going to take too kindly to threats and to warnings, but we'll see. It's also very interesting that the Biden White House is now having to run around to various countries and actually warn them to stop helping Russia, and by extension China, de-dollarize. The Biden White House is out of options. They've run out of options. They tried Venezuela, they tried Iran. They're now running to India and warning India to stop the de-dollarization effort that is underway with Russia and with China. And they've run out of options. They don't have any more options left other than going to countries and warning them now, like actually giving them warnings. Or else, stop this or else. That's where the Biden White House is at with this economic war. This is the results of their shock and awe sanction policy, which they thought would bring down the Russian government. At the end of the day, this is bringing down the American government, and this is definitely bringing down the European Union. That's for sure. The European Union is reeling. I mean, they are in full panic mode with the gas to rubles decree. Who are these sanctions aimed at? It doesn't seem like they're aimed at Russia anymore. It seems like they're aimed at destroying the collective West. And when you have a Biden official running to India and having to tell the Indian government, having to send a warning to the Indian government, that's when you know the Biden White House is in trouble. I talked yesterday about the fact that Biden has to tap into the petroleum reserves now of the United States. And it's not just going to be a one-time release. Biden said he's going to release 1 million barrels every single day until the end of the year. This is crazy. He is destroying the country. This one administration is destroying and depleting the United States of whatever is left. It's shocking to see what's going on. Absolutely shocking. And they have no reverse gear. They can't admit that this is a failed policy. This is a major miscalculation. Let's just let Ukraine be a neutral buffer zone. Let it go with Russia. It's over, and let's start rolling back some of this damage. They have no reverse gear. Instead, they're doubling and tripling down. And now they're threatening India. So I thought that was a very, very interesting development. And let's wait to see what happens with Lavrov in his meeting in India. And the final story will be Clown World. Clown World. So everyone was saying, they're canceling Z, and pretty soon they're going to be canceling other letters of the alphabet. The story about Germany and how the two German areas, Lower Saxony and Bavaria, have canceled the letter Z. So you can't display the letter Z in public. Otherwise, you're going to get fined or put in prison, something like a 3,000 euro fine or 3 years in prison, something crazy like that. If you publicly display the letter Z. I talked about Samsung and how they've removed the Z from their line of mobile phones, and the Zurich Insurance Company, and how they got how they removed their logo, which was a Z. And now you have not only Z being canceled, but you have the letter V. That's right, V, as in peace sign, V, being canceled, and that is happening in Latvia. So the Latvian parliament has passed a law, a resolution. I don't know if it's going to become law yet, but they've gotten a resolution. They've tabled it. They put it in place, tabled it. They put it in place, this resolution, where they will ban the use of Z and V in public areas and during public events and in public displays. So in Latvia at the moment, you are not allowed to display the letter Z and the letter V. And everyone was joking around after the Z thing. They're gonna go after other letters. Watch, they're gonna go after other letters. And sure enough, they've now gone after V. So that's what's happening in Latvia. And Latvia said this is on the suggestion of Zelensky, because Zelensky asked for all countries around the world to ban the letter Z and to ban other letters that the Russian military is using. Sure enough, Latvia is bowing down to Zelensky's wishes and Zelensky's demands. And they're now banning not only Z, but they're banning V. So a lot of people are saying in the comments, the comments are great when we talk about the Z story, because there's a lot of commenters who are saying, well, if I was Russia, I would just start putting all of the Latin alphabet on my tanks. And I think you're right. Absolutely. If I was the Russian government as a troll to the West, I would just start putting every single letter in the alphabet on the tanks. And just watch what EU governments do and what Western governments do. Watch them start banning every letter. So anyway, that is the Cloud World story. And I think I will leave it there with this update. So we've got V. V is now taken out. What letter is next? What other letters is the Russian government using? Is the Russian military using? Z, V. What are the other ones? I'm not sure I remember. Let me know in the comments if there are other letters that they're using in these operations, because then we'll know that those are going to be the letters that are going to be on the chopping block next. Anyway, I'll leave it there, everybody. Go to Alexander's channel. He did a good analysis on the gas for ruble story that broke yesterday. We have a live stream today as well. We'll be talking about what's going on with the gas for ruble and how the EU is in absolute panic mode. And that's it. The Duran.locals.com. Definitely join us there. Take care.